and support begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Nurture and Support. I was super close to saying squat cobbler, and that would be so wrong here. I'm Kelly at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram.
And Al at Karmic9, pretty much everywhere.
And we're back for some recommendations for you. I'm going to go ahead and I have, FYI, editor's note, I have a very surly cat, a very chatty cat that is cruising around today. So you're going to probably hear from her a lot. But I'll try and get through my recommendation and then mute myself a lot. My recommendation for this week is a YouTube channel that I stumbled across on my various YouTube journeys. And I've become quite infatuated with it and really, really enjoying it. The name of the YouTube channel is SciManDan. So that's SciManDan. And based on the accent, I'm assuming he's in England. and some of the guests he has on, wow, the cat is loud today. Sorry. I just came across a couple of his videos. So, Mel, I know the answer to this, but I'll ask it anyway. Are you a flat earther? The cat's
definitely not. Yeah. The cat's not.
Cat's not either. Cat's saying no, absolutely not. Didn't think so. Neither's Dan. I'm unclear exactly what his profession is, but I'm assuming it's in the scientific community. But he has taken upon himself to kind of run a couple series on a regular basis. And so one of the ones he runs is Flat Earth Fridays, where he basically debunks flat earthers every Friday, different scenes. And it's sad. These YouTube channels that are out there where these folks earnestly share their, air quotes, proof that the earth is flat. And it's all
crackpot theories.
Yeah. And it's all both, and they're like really clear to say, hey, we're not talking about that crazy pancake thing that you hear people talk about. Ours is, it's flat and there's a dome over the top of it. And so it's
totally legit.
Two light sources for the sun and the moon that are affixed to the dome that rotate through. So clearly not crackpot at all. And then it rolls into biblical elements to some of this. And they branch out to not only do the flat earth stuff. And they call, by the way, we're globies. The fact that you and I believe that we're on a globe. We're globies.
I needed another moniker for myself.
Yeah, you're a globie. And they always say it in a very mocking tone. You know, how can you believe you're on this ball that's spinning? Why isn't the water falling off?
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just, it's insane. So he, on a regular basis, he does, and he's clever. He's funny. He's got a silver YouTube plaque behind him, so I'm not sure what that is beyond crapload of followers. You know, he's built a good base. He does a very entertaining job in describing it, and a lot of it is him playing whatever their theory is or rebuttals, because they pay attention to his channel and kind of rebut him. And so he'll run those, he'll play theirs for a little bit, he'll come back with a response. And so the flat earth stuff is really where I started, and I didn't understand where the flat earthers were coming from before. So now I have a better idea, at least on what their model is. But he does a really nice job on that. And then he's also added Tinfoil Tuesdays. So this is where he takes all the other conspiracies that aren't flat earth and he goes after them. And they're usually kind of interrelated because it is, so I guess it ties more to flat earth that space is fake. There's no such thing as space. On the tinfoil
stuff. Are we in a snow globe?
Yeah.
I guess
partially.
Snow globe, like one of those sci-fi movies.
Yep. It's a snow globe, you know, as Dan frequently mentions. So meteorites, how do they work? You know, we've got this big dome. He kind of brings that up on a pretty regular basis. Eclipses, because apparently the sun and the moon are on these fixed points on this rotating dome. And so there's that. And by the way, who built that dome? That would be kind of another helpful piece.
That's a big question. That concerns me. Who built the dome? Yeah. Your ants in a little ant farm, apparently.
But the tinfoil stuff gets into, and it does seem to be related because it's oftentimes the people that do the flat earth stuff also go out and share things like, well, of course, we never landed on the moon. That was completely fake. And you've seen those, forever. All the different examples there. Dinosaurs never existed.
Absolutely.
And so it's just, and I felt bad because there's this one guy he had on, his daughter she had seen Jurassic World. And so she came back and was just infatuated with dinosaurs and was doing all sorts of searches in Google on dinosaurs. And he comes in and laughs and begins to bilge at her around, well, you know, they never existed, and all these kinds of things. It's completely fake. So I kind of feel sorry for this poor child getting her parental figure pouring all this misinformation to her. But the other very interesting thing I found is the tinfoilers that say dinosaurs never existed, they don't know the difference between an archaeologist and a paleontologist. And so that's, well, you know what? The only people that have ever found dinosaur bones are archaeologists, which I'm assuming they mean paleontologists, and it's also not true. But it is, obviously, he's funny. He's kind of on point. He does a really good job. He's got a pretty sarcastic edge to himself, but it's fun. I really enjoy it, and I kind of came across it, and I've just started working my way through all of the things. The moon landing stuff has always been an area of frustration for me, and so while I get a ton of enjoyment out of all this stuff, there's this mild tinge on the bottom that, you know, we're kind of in a world, and I'm not going to name any names, but we're kind of in a world where people will advance things that aren't true on a regular basis, and that, you know, the fact that we kind of build an environment, and social media probably helps with that a little bit, that there are people that can make careers out of, I'm a flat earther and I go speak at conferences about flat earther, just nonsense stuff. And, you know, so while I really do enjoy him effectively debunking it, it also makes me personally a little sad too, because I realize we're kind of in an environment where it's a very good petri dish for these funguses to grow and come up with their
good term.
I think it's fair in this case here. So yes. It's just a fascinating thing, and there are some guys that one of the experiments he was debunking was a guy had basically a high-powered laser pen. He was in a field. And he was saying, I'm going to point it at the moon. I'm going to show you that the moon is really close because I'm going to light up the moon with my laser pen. And it was...
Did it work?
Oddly nice. It worked before. I'm not sure why it's not working now. And he had trouble keeping the camera focused on the moon. And every time that kind of happened, Dan would kind of jump back in. He goes, damn that rotation of the Earth. You know? And so he had that problem there. And some other fairly big name guy that was trying to, because the curvature their big thing is, well, we just didn't have good enough cameras before. And ships don't disappear over the horizon. You just can't see them anymore. And so they'll do a lot of those things. And so one guy was doing an experiment to show that. So he's at his camera's at 17 feet and this guy is, because there's a certain drop up, like after every 8 miles, there's a certain amount of drop off that you can measure. And so this guy went out a distance and he goes, okay, turn on the light. And he saw nothing. And this was actually, I think, on a Netflix special. And he goes, okay, hold the light above your head. And all of a sudden we see the light, and it's like, that appears that 17 feet here and 17 feet there don't quite work. So he does a really nice job in kind of highlighting those fails and all that. He also has a book club, which I thought would speak well to you. It does not appear to be nearly as active as the Tinfoil Tuesdays and the Flat Earth Fridays, but there are 6 videos out on the book club. Might be worth a look for you for that. And then he's got some general astronomy stuff as well. So
I was going to say, it sounds to me like these flat earth people probably also don't know the difference between an astronomer and an astrologer.
Hasn't come up, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. I'm going to assume we don't have a large population of flat earth people who listen to Nurture and Support. So if we do, I apologize if I've offended you, but I tend to side with SciManDan and I think he provides good information. So if you do happen to be a flat earther, maybe check this video out and see what you think. So I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, that I'm definitely going to have to look that up. That sounds like everything I love on YouTube. I love a good conspiracy theory, y'all. Or actually, I love a bad conspiracy theory, but I don't actually believe them. Fun entertainment. Okay, the Earth. I think we all need to go watch Dan. And I need to check out his book club. Are they like science books? Did you notice? So I was just prepping for the show. Like I said, I have spent my time in the two. But I went and looked at the playlist and go, I bet you there's a book list with 6 in there. Mel ought to check that out. And I thought we've talked before. I think you have some interest in astronomy as well. I've had some recommendations on that before Twitter Twitter recommendations and such. And so he seems to have a pretty good amount of content there. So definitely worth a look. Good entertainment. He's doing really well. Very active, high number of subscribers YouTube channel. But he can always use more. So go take a look. SciManDan.
Yeah, I'll definitely look at that. I've kind of dumped them out of my Twitter feed. I had to watch some of those videos, it sounds like, but I finally reached my breaking point and had to cleanse the timeline a little bit. So I had to get some of that.
Well, I've been trying to think, because I think we need to start a conspiracy theory, but I'm trying to figure which platform is better, whether the nurture and support. Although I think you and I could have a lot of fun with it. I also think that if we go more with the Squat Cobbler one with Mike, there's a much darker, stranger places we could go. But that being said, give some thought to what is the nurture and support conspiracy theory we want to start, because I think that would be fun. We can kind of provide updates every show in the future.
Well, that's going to take some thought. But my recommendation this week, the flat earthers would definitely not approve of, because it involves GPS. And so if you don't have a globe, what do you need a global positioning system for?
It'd be FPS.
Yeah. If any of you have looked at my Twitter feed or Instagram or anything like that, y'all know I like Corgi. And I have a Corgi named Bentley who is a runner. This is the fastest little dog I've ever had. And if he gets outside without a leash on, he takes off. It's just like he hears the call of the wild and he runs. And I had a little scare several weeks ago. I've known he's had this problem. And luckily I work at a place where my Corgi goes to work with. They have accommodated my lock system within the building to try to keep him from getting out a door.
The Corgi containment system.
Yes, it's quite convoluted and is a pain for many people, and I do appreciate their tolerance. Unfortunately, we almost had an escape several weeks ago when my own family left the back gate open. I live out in the country, we've talked before, but I do have a backyard for the dogs to go in so I can make sure at night, the coyote and whatnot. So I had gotten home, let him out in the backyard, and my other Corgi, put them all in the backyard. And we were making dinner. After dinner, we get a phone call from our neighbor. Again, I live in the country. My neighbor is not close. And they're like, "Are you missing a Corgi?" Because we're the Corgi people. And we're like, "No." And so I go to look. And about that time, the family members start going, "Oh, crap. I was mowing. I think I left the gate open." So I lost my Corgi. It's not a runner. And how he made it that far away, I don't know. But the moral of the story here is my youngest run like a lightning, try and make sure that I could find quickly if something like that happened. So my recommendation is a collar called the Fi Smart Collar. And it's Fi, and it's a smart dog collar. It is a GPS tracking collar for your pet. I looked at quite a few of these, and the reason I went with this particular one is because it has a very long battery life on the actual collar. Many of the others I looked at, the collar battery life only lasts maybe before you have to recharge it. And me, knowing myself, know that, the battery will be low, and that will be the moment that my little dog will escape. And his GPS tracking collar will be dead and it won't be any purpose. So give this one a try. We've been using it for about a month and I'm really pretty happy with it. I have not charged it once since I got it in that month. I charged it when I got it and it was already when it came to mostly charged, but I put it on the charger, put it on him, and he's been wearing it for a month. It still has over 4% battery on the collar. So it works an app on your phone, and it has the little base that charges it. Also acts as a home spot when it's within your home Wi-Fi. So it doesn't use as much battery on the collar when it's in your home Wi-Fi. You set home networks where it alerts you if your dog leaves that area. And also, if the dog is close to the app on your phone, it knows that the dog is with you. And so it will say every morning, it tells me Bentley has left home with Melissa as we're driving down the road. I get an alert on my phone. I have also bought a charge station to put at work. So you spend possibly more time at work at home. And that will increase the battery life on the collar, even though that's not really my issue. When I have to leave the actual office part of the property, it thinks he's lost because he gets out of my Bluetooth range on my phone. And I'll get an alert that he's at such and such address. And it uses GPS pretty accurately to tell you exactly where your dog is at any given time. And you can, through the app, alert it that your dog is lost. He's taken off. There's the little button that you push that, oh shit, he's lost. And one of the cool things I like about the little module on this collar is it has a light on it that you can turn on. So if you're walking your dog out at night, you can actually turn on a little light on his collar. It goes up. It only comes with your choice when you buy it of a couple different colors of the collar. But they also have what's called a martingale collar that I'll talk about in a second. So this module fits onto the collar a lot like if you have like we've talked about before, a Fitbit or like the Apple Watch or any of the smartwatches. They have interchangeable bands that you attach to the actual watch face in some way, shape, or form. You can change them out. This module for the Phi collar is the same way, only there aren't quite as many available options to change your color out there. But they have a couple of different colors. The collar itself is really well made. I like it. It has a metal buckle instead of a plastic buckle. I'm one of those people that don't trust plastic buckles on larger breed dogs because I've had to actually the plastic buckle and they've gone to collars off. And so the attachments on the collar, the buckle is metal, the attachment, the module are metal as well. It's a little difficult to get them on the module, but they seem to fit well. I've had no problems with it coming loose once I got it attached. The module itself isn't a plastic housing, so it's not really that heavy. It's far too for a small dog, but my Corgi are about 25 pounds, and it's perfectly fine for him. The martingale collar is actually the style of collar I typically use for my dogs. Martingale collars are the type that they tighten up a little bit when you pull them. So you attach a loop on the collar between two sides of the collar. And so pull on it. You can think of it sort of like a choke chain, but it actually can't tighten down enough to choke them. Those are sometimes called greyhound collars. They're made for dogs that have necks that are wider than their head to slip a collar. So this is to help prevent that. And those are the type of collars that I use my dogs. So they do have a martingale collar available. It only comes in gray, which lucky for me is one of my favorite colors. All of their other colors are kind of, so I prefer the gray. But they do have a section on their website, tryfi, so tryfi.com. They have a section on their shop to a couple of independent shops that make collars that will fit onto this module. There's a couple of those I would really like. They had some skull stuff on them that were very goth. I haven't gotten any of those yet. So as far as the cost of this collar, it probably was the most expensive one that I looked at, but given what I need it for, it's well worth the money. The collar itself runs about $150, but every time I've looked at their website, they have a discount code on the website that gives you $50 off. So it's going to run you about $100, which all of the other ones that I looked at, which were primarily on Amazon, were over $50. They were somewhere in $50 and $100 anyway. And like I said, everyone I looked at didn't give you more than days of battery life on that collar before you had to charge it. Speaking of battery life, I have found one downside to all of this is that the app needs to be running in the background on your phone all the time to be the tracking. Now, you may not need to have it running all the time. You may not really be that worried about where your dog is, but I've been testing it, so I have mine running all of the time. And it does eat up battery on your phone. I have a newer model iPhone, and it does pretty much drain my battery more so than I was. So I will say that. But I think adding the extra home at my workplace where I spend a good chunk of the day would probably increase that somewhat. But again, most of us are prepared for our phone battery dying throughout the day. So we already have charge cords and stuff like that. I'm worried about the collar it's charged and not my phone. I can always charge my phone. So I seem to be one of the few people that actually want this collar to find my dog. So what I really see this collar marketed to people for, I thought was, whatever. There are people out there who want to know how many steps their dog is taking. This collar tracks your dog's steps. It's like a Fitbit for your dog. And I get an alert on my phone every day telling me that my dog has surpassed his step goal for the day.
What is it? So 10,000 is a pretty common step goal for Fitbit users. What's a dog step goal?
It's defaulted to 10,000 for my dog too. I did find where you could change it because he gets over 30 every day. And I would not consider him terribly active. So, he's got 4 legs, all right? But he's on a streak. Every day he's surpassed his goal, and I get a notification every night how he's killing it because he's surpassed his goal, which is apparently, according to a lot of the people seeing this collar, to make sure that they're getting their money's worth out of their dog walker, which I have very mixed feelings about that subject. But hey, if that's what you need it for, that's great. I'm more concerned about the dog getting away from the dog walker and not being able to find your dog because they run off. But again, I gave y'all my long exp of why I felt the need to buy this collar. This collar I'm really happy with. It's done everything that I've wanted. You have to get a trial period the collar. Like any phone type, the longer the more you put on your contract, the cheaper it's going to be per year. I think the first year, if you're going to do it a year at a time, I think it's like $100. So and it's FI. I keep wanting to say fee. I don't know. Hopefully I haven't said fee, but it's FI. This FI Smart Dog collar at tryfi.com is where this collar's at, where you can get your very own if you or know someone who has a dog that is an escaper and would very much help to get your dog back quickly and not have to wait about it getting picked up and having good sense or grace. Check your dog for a chip, and you really don't want your dog to end up in the pound. If so, save you worry, possibly save your dog. I find it to be a reasonable expense. I like this collar. I think it's great. And if any of you have a situation like mine or need to check your dog's, step count every day, then this will totally do the trick, and it has phenomenal battery life. I'm so impressed with the battery life. It'll work, get the job done.
Yeah, that sounds great. So kind of in the family orbit, there is a mixed dog that is Brittany Spaniel and Red Tick Coonhound. So the Brittany side of the dog tracks really well with your Corgi. That super fast and does not understand the come back. It's useless words to the dog. The dog knows sit, dog knows lay, come back. Nope. It's a smart dog, but it's got zero interest in that. And kind of a greyhound body too, to the dog. And so this would be, I'll have to give this some pretty serious consideration because there are certain breeds out there and dogs out there that if they catch the little window and they can take off, they do. And this would be a fantastic way to kind of try and mitigate the risk with this. That's really cool. Yeah, it's not,
it's relieved. It's given me a bit of relief. I rest a little bit easier knowing that it's on him and it's got good battery life, and I can reasonably narrow him down to a location, because I've also had people tell me they would steal my dog. So there is also, they'd probably come back because he's horrible, but he's cute. As long as I've been in veterinary type industry, there are a lot of people that find dogs and they don't try to find their own. So with this collar, you can go knocking on a door. Have you seen my dog? So anyway,
yeah,
it's a good investment.
Yeah. Well, the one downside is it's all fake.
That's right.
There's no such thing as GPS. And it's all a big plot to kind of fool you. But,
Yeah.
you know.
Because he'll just fall off the side of the earth
That's right.
once, he reaches the edge, and then he'll be gone. And I don't know what happens when they fall. What happens when you fall off the edge? I
well,
don't know what they think.
There's an ice wall. You see, there's an ice wall. There's no Antarctica. It's an ice wall that runs across, and the government has denied people from going deeper into Antarctica to truly discover.
So you can't find the edge.
You can't find the edge because government says no.
Yes.
And
yes.
Just isn't quite right. But Sci-Fi Dan covers that. There are some rules, but there's an ice wall. So if the Corgi gets away, he's going to hit an ice wall eventually. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
So nothing to worry about.
Back. He'll just run around the edge of the wall, so I just need to go to the wall and wait. And eventually he'll make his way, because Corgis can't go in a straight line. They will curve along a wall if you give them a chance.
There you go. This will work out perfect for you. Excellent.
Awesome. Yep. So anyway, this company has a number of ways for you to try to earn your free GPS subscription or get free collars or stuff like that. They have lots of cute dogs, so it's something to look at if you have some. So go to tryfi.com.
Excellent. Good. Well, thanks. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Be sure you subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher, iTunes, or wherever you want. We also do put these out on YouTube, on the Bog Panda YouTube channel, so you'll find them there. So however you would like to catch these, we do appreciate those of you who join us. And so thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye. Don't fall off the edge of the earth.
You can contact us on our website, nurtureandsupport.net, or email us at nurtandsupp@gmail.com. That's NURTANDSUPP@gmail.com. Or tweet us at nurtandsupp on Twitter. You can also catch Nurture and Support on YouTube.
Nurturing and supporting.